they are for every role. So from an AP perspective, Neuron's Contract is one of them. Agreed? I think everybody who plays...
Which AP? Well, as a
I-
sixth
I-
item, as a super late item, yeah.
See, that might be the one item that we're
That might be the
indifferent in.
differentiation.
Yeah. Starheart, automatic requirement. Everybody knows that.
That makes sense though, because that is the big AP
exactly.
item. That's your death cap.
And
Everybody's got to have their death cap.
Yep, we're all okay with that. Cosmic Staff seems to be a big one that nobody used to build. Cosmic Staff has gained so much popularity with the amplifiers.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the amps,
They put
because
the
of the 500
Yep.
off of it.
500 off of the cost of Cosmic Staff 4 made Cosmic Staff 4 good. It used to be you didn't buy it because 750 for 10 power damage was crap, and the passive was irrelevant.
Yeah,
But 10 power
good
damage for
point, though,
250
like-
and the passive? That's huge.
yeah. What's up, Ammo?
I said that's kind of a good point we just brought up. I think a lot of the pigeonholing also stems from the fact like everybody gets Zeus goggles, Coda Blade, and
We're stuck with
Joe
what the
Chills
mods allow.
because that's what's on the amplifiers.
Yeah.
Like that's what's made better.
Those
when
are
they
the
release-
we don't have custom amplifiers.
Yeah, when they release custom, I think it'll broaden up a little bit.
I think so, but not very much. I mean, those items are still, like, even before mods,
Exactly.
Mogo Lobo Spear was still the way to go.
Oh
Before
yeah,
mods,
that's a completely
Zeiss Goggles,
80s
V9,
things.
Joe Chills was the way to go. Like,
And
you
see,
still want your
are-
IEPD.
Are there any items that anybody feels like are overpowered at the moment that like they
Mogo.
need a nerf?
Mogo. Mogo. Oh my god, Mogo.
Yeah.
That
Steel's
item,
breastplate if they haven't nerfed it.
Mogo's is actually, like, the highest single damage output item in the game,
I think so as well.
but it's also a tank item. Like, think about the contribution you'll get from another item into your abilities.
yeah.
Mogo's will
See,
outperform that.
Mogo's
drastically.
either needs to be the passive, the same way that Sunfire
Sunfire
Cape is
Cape.
from League,
Mhm.
or the activation on it needs to be shorter, as in like the
I
time
think it
that
needs
it
an
stays on.
activation burst, and then it needs a latent dot on the people it hits.
Yeah.
The constant burn effect is just too much.
Yeah, it's got to be.
It's like a
nerfed.
combined 600 damage from that active if you hit
Yeah.
2 people. It's not okay.
No, I agree 100% on that.
Scotty, did they ever nerf Steel's breastplate? For...
No, Steel's breastplate is still bugged.
Okay, then it's still OP.
Yeah,
Yep.
I still-
It's actually
Energy
like
champions
super
plus
secret
Steel's
OP.
breastplate. You guys know the passive on it, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Then-
ridiculous.
You
It
know,
works
if you
without
get it
a
on
mana.
an energy champion, it doesn't take anything. You just automatically
that
take
constant
30%
damage
reduced damage.
Oh,
Mm.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have a phantom mana bar that never depletes if you have that on a non-mana champion. It's so silly.
Yeah, and then the other 3 items for AP are I think that's probably the biggest indifference, like we said, is where people like not the items themselves, but in what order
When you
people
build them, yeah.
Correct.
Pretty much, do you
like,
build your neurons early for the safety, or do you build it late because you want the
Exactly.
damage? That's
Ad-
about the only variance.
Atalantean Seal has been built a lot now too, and there's no amplifier set that increases that, and that's still an item that is huge among AP players. And
It's a good 4th or 5th item. It gives you
Yeah.
power damage, it gives you HP, and it gives you more kite power. And about that time, you're going to start dealing with shit like Flash, shit like Shazam, things that you're going to
Yeah.
need to kite, or they're just going to perforate you.
Thoughts on Pandora's Box? I've seen so many people building it lately. With the charges that, when you go back to the well, it regens. When you leave, you get the 3 slows from Pandora's Box. Let me look it up here on Dawnbase real quick, and we will...
I think they should regen
It's like
over
Spooky
time,
Ghosts.
and that it would be fine.
It needs a time-based regen and more of a cooldown between them, because if you actually just
Yeah.
use your Pandora's Box back to back to back, you can straight
Yeah.
pin somebody down with an incredibly long duration,
and
potent
it's got
slow.
20%
and-
CDR, 20% power lifesteal, and 10 movement speed. And that's a really ridiculous late game item for a lot of characters right
Yeah.
now.
Exactly. When you
And-
don't
Or
need
for
your power
initiators
anymore,
that can
gives
use
you
the
everything.
cooldown effect.
Exactly. And I think everybody understands Eclipso's Diamond isn't in an overpower spot right now. It's just a good item for the lifesteal and the power damage that it gives. It's just
100 power damage
just
might be
there.
a bit high. I think it needs to be like 90-ish. I don't know. It just
Okay.
seems a bit too strong.
Oh, huge difference that I've seen from everybody, from all the scrims that we've been playing, everything. Nobody builds the harvest items anymore. No Two Faces coin, no Crime
Overnerfed.
Bible, and
They're
no
terrible.
There's only one character in the
No
game
Promethean
that gets
Mace.
enough out of pure raw stats to like
Gaslight
warrant it.
Joker, Crime Bible.
No, Shazam.
Shazam.
Shazam
Ah,
gets
yeah.
so much out of pure power damage as opposed to everything, because like he doesn't need
Yeah.
CDR because he'll just energy starve himself. He needs a little bit of pen, which you can get on power damage. Two-Face's coin is about the only one that's useful on anybody anymore, and it's only useful on Shazam. Everybody else is better off getting anything else, because the thing people didn't realize pre-patch, before they got nerfed, fantastic gold efficiency, horrible slot efficiency.
Yeah.
Always been the case. So even in your late game build, they were only 1,000 gold item, you just sold them. Nowadays, they're bad gold efficiency, they're bad slot efficiency, they have a bad build-up, they have no multiplicative stats, they're just not worth it.
Yeah. Another huge difference that we've been seeing from a lot of people is the refundable items. Nobody builds those anymore.
Also over nerfed.
Exactly.
Hawkman's is still worth it, but
It's. I think
Other
it's all
than-
If you
situational. I
really
think it
need a
depends-
gold dump, I
If
guess.
you really need to spend that 250, that's fine.
Yeah.
But then the additional 1,000 for the last two ranks kind of hurts.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you're falling behind having to finish up this item so that you can sell it off and get the money back.
The only time I ever build refundables is when I'm building Sai Scimitar.
Exactly.
It's 3,000, so, and the first two ranks really aren't worth it to me. So I'd rather just
Exactly.
invest, and it's the exact same amount of money. There's
Put it in a
nothing-
Radions, put it in a Hawkman, sell them both,
Yeah.
pick up a Psy Stim, you're done.
I always build Hawkman's if anyone's ever seen my build because I start with it. Marauder 1, Knife 1, and I
Yeah,
get Marauder
that's-
Shield,
that's the
Marauder
other
Knife,
thing
and
that
Hawkman's.
I've seen that's probably the one other item that junglers differentiate on is whether to build Marauder's Knife all the way, which we've seen a lot more of recently, or
Champion dependent.
get
game
Marauder's
dependent.
Shield, because Marauder's Shield actually is not that bad. Like the health
Marauder's
cost,
Shield
and
is
the
awesome.
stats that it gives you, it's pretty efficient when you think about it. 30% resilience, 400 health. That's not that bad.
Oh, it's definitely like
500
one of
health
the
if
best
you
choices
get
for
the right-
resilience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Armor.
but you absolutely need to be buying. Like, if you're going to get that item, it has to be for the resilience.
Yeah.
Everything else is a bonus. And if there's not an enemy, like a Gaslight Joker. Gaslight Joker is who you want to build it against.
Yeah.
His fear is just so long that without resilience, you get hit by that, you might as well just let go of your mouse and keyboard. You're done.
Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts, since we're still going over items, on the gambits? Everybody, I feel like, on the team now has at least one of the gambits because of the efficiency that they provide now.
They used to be broken, and so when other items were getting nerfed, they got ignored.
Yeah.
Now they're I'm not saying they're overpowered, but they're certainly powerful. Powerful
Yes.
enough that it's almost worth it to make sure you have a gambit on everybody, just so you've got all the auras. That said, there is one gambit I am wholly unimpressed by. Quad gambit blows.
Yes. Agreed.
Ali is awesome. Oa's
I
God,
don't
Oa
think
gambit
it's
is
so
silly.
much that the Quad Gambit is it's
There's
bad.
better for
It's the
stats.
activation on Quad
Yeah,
Gambit.
the active might have had a
all-
point when wards were.
all of the other activations
Exactly.
on all of the other gambits feel like they provide something to you or the team. And Quad Gambit, you know, like I get it, it's supposed to be more of a support item, but we already have wards, and now with the wards with the reduced cooldown with the recent patch, you know, there's really no reason to build it anymore.
Yeah, plus if you want Spell Vamp or Spell Vamp and Spell Steal, Eclipsos.
items,
We were
yeah.
saying earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah, Eclipsos is so much better for the stats.
Yes. Everybody's
Hell, even
thoughts
Pandora's
on-
is better as a Spell Vamp item.
Yeah, everybody's thoughts on activations now that they're finally added, and key bindings. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
I think it's funny that key bindings reset when you relog.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to
that needs
Manchester
to be a
about.
quality of life change. I agree. But activations, like nobody has talked about that on forums or anything other than cool. We have activations. Like the only thing I think that anybody has complained about is not being able to move items from slot to slot. Everybody loves
Which
the
is
activations.
super annoying. Yeah,
And-
having the activatable items was a good
Well,
change.
there's not being able to move, and I already said it to main show, but the fact that even when you do change the key bindings, it still says 1 through 6. I mean, like, I don't know. It's just kind of hard for me to rewire my brain when every time I look down, I still see 1 through 6.
Yeah. And
After we've been.
And the other thing is, are there any activations that anybody feels like are overpowered? I know Deadshot's
Mogos.
Visor was kind of like floating on that for a while. Mogos. Deadshot's, I feel like it's really only overpowered.
Deadshots
on
was a
certain
problem when it was
champions.
bugged. Deadshots used to
When you
work
could
on
take out
towers,
towers.
and did like 3 times its damage on
Yeah.
towers. It used to go in, like, if you had enough armor pen, which is something I want to touch on in a minute, armor pen,
Yeah.
you could actually, like, none of the other damage did, but for some reason, Deadshots was letting you go into negatives on people's armor, so you could amplify the damage on that to such
Yep.
dramatic proportions.
It was
And
just
while we're on the subject of
ridiculous.
amplifying damage to dramatic proportions,
Go for it.
there is so much flat penetration flying out of every orifice in this game right now.
Oh yeah.
That, like, Manjo...
There needs to
Manjo
be
said it from-
specific items.
None of the amplifier pages for casters have armor on them. Every melee page has armor pen.
Yep.
Zatanna goes to lane with 5 armor. There's no one in the game with an AD page that won't hit her for true damage.
Not only that, there are no items in this game. If you look at it, there's 2 for ADs. There is none for APs that I know of that are flat. Like go other than like Cosmic Staff has like the 10, and I know Book of Eternity has the 30%, I believe it is. But
Yeah,
there's
35%
no
on-
item that is an in
15 on
between there.
Cosmic.
Because like if you think about it, you're either building one to focus squishies such as Coda Blade and Cosmic Staff, you know,
Oa
to
Gambit,
get
Scarab.
to get the
Oa
the
Gambit,
flat
Cosmic
stuff.
Staff, Blue Scarab. On those 3
Yeah.
items on a mage.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen it earlier today. Anybody that was watching the
On
Complexity
Flash
game?
with Prolly.
When, as soon as Prolly finished a Cosmic Staff, he started chunking people.
Yep.
As soon as he finished a Blue Scarab, he started 2-shotting people. He didn't even need an Oa Gambit at that
Yep.
point.
And so like thoughts on Book of Eternity and the Atomic Axe, like those are unheard of items unless you're super in the late game.
Season
which
2 League
doesn't
armor pen.
happen. Exactly.
It's Season 2 League Armor Pen. Percent comes after flat, and so
Yep.
percent isn't worth it if you're stacking flat. There's so much flat that you can stack that the percent will never be worth it.
Agreed.
Like, the targets that have to die are the targets that aren't, like, the most important people to kill in a team fight are the ones that are going to have low enough defensive stats that the flat pen will be more than enough. Once you deal with the threats, you can pick away at the tanks or
flat
shove
pen
them
will
back
be
however
more
much you
than
get.
enough.
Like, once you've
Once
killed
you
off,
deal
say,
with
the Atomic Wonder Woman and the Marksman.
Yeah.
Laugh at the Doomsday. What's he gonna do to you?
Yeah. Agreed. And then the other issue with armor pen right now is when tanks get to their 4 and 5 item builds, it feels like even if you are an ADC Bennett your 6 item build for 5 minutes, you are useless.
Yo, yeah, like, depending on the way they build.
Yes.
If there's a Metallo's Heart on the other team, and you're trying, and you've got, like, say, a Batman Prime with a Mogos, and I'm trying to think what the armor item, Claw of Horus,
Yeah.
you don't scratch him, and he's kicking your teeth down your throat.
Correct.
You can do nothing about him.
Yep. And you can't. Not only that, like there's nowhere for you to go because on an ADC, there. Oh, guess what? There's no escapes and
Gonna
no
go away.
movement speed.
Yeah.
Correct.
There are no real good escape. The only quote-unquote escape item in the game is Rip Hunter's Time Pack, and you need incredible foresight to actually use that as an
Yes.
escape.
Not only that, the stats on it feel pointless. There's no ADC that absolutely has
Yeah,
to have
exactly.
CDR.
Those
There-
aren't
there
marksman stats. Like, the
Exactly.
only hero that really effectively uses the stats on that item to their fullest, Nightmare Batman.
Yeah.
Like, you Meteor Bite somebody and you Rip Hunters back out, you've got good attack speed, cooldown reduction for afterwards. He's it. He is it.
Yep. No, that is a good point. And now that we're talking about champions, let's discuss champions for a little bit again, and let's talk about Harley. Everybody watch her on Wednesday.
I'm worried
Thoughts?
about Harley. That like massive cone CC that she does, followed by a knockback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, the pies at max rank being only, I think it was a 4-second cooldown. You know, we don't
It's
actually
it's
get to
Heimerdinger
see that.
rockets.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Heimerdinger rockets coming out of a support with
And then,
CC.
not only that,
Yeah.
she gets to target an ally and make them regain health and give them ability power.
Yeah, she's
and
getting a
movement
targeted
speed.
heal.
Passive is like AoE attack speed.
Yeah.
Harley coming out makes Zatanna even worse. She
Correct.
does everything better than Zatanna.
Yep.
She does everything better
She
than
does
Ivy.
everything better than almost any support other than, you know, what Telekinetic
Arcane Green
was
Lantern.
mentioning earlier.
That's about
Arcane
it.
Green Lantern. Yep.
Like, her and Arcane Green Lantern are the supports now. Gaslight Joker is the other one.
Exactly. He's
Yeah.
the, you know, like,
And then there's Zatanna and Ivy, which are just the forgotten character. Like,
Yep.
it bugs me that there are so many characters in a game with, like, what, 15 characters?
that
there are,
aren't
like,
used, and it's in
4
closed
redheaded
beta.
stepchildren already. There's the 2 Cast 3 supports, there's Doomy, and there's Catwoman Prime.
Yep.
Those 4 are worthless. There's no reason to pick them over another character.
Has any team used Wonder Woman since her nerf?
She's not worth it. That's right.
I
Wonder
have,
Woman.
but my team hates
Honestly,
me
I
for
forgot
it.
about her.
Over nerfed. Over nerfed. Agreed. Complete
She
over
got
nerfed.